started. It's going to be a long enough meeting. Gotta wait. We want to be out of here by 11:30 to head up to the park. So we'll try to move this thing along. Before I get into anything, can the legislators decide how they want to work it? They want to talk about their students themselves, or they want the students to talk about themselves to the rest of the public? So decide how you want to work that with your student. And once we get there, you can start introducing them. Do they talk or you talk? Okay. All right, I'm going to call the meeting to order at, I've got exactly 10 a.m.
Dave, there he is. Say we're missing one. Just walk through the door.
Hey, Brian, we're just starting. Thanks. All right, meeting called to order at 10 exactly. Roll call. Sheila?
Jim Basile,
Present.
Andy Dennison,
Present.
Lydia Patty Rafini. Here. Chris Petrus,
Here.
Aileen McNabb Coleman,
Present.
Bob Shay,
Present.
Hans Petcher,
Here.
Mark Strong,
Here.
Heidi Nightingale,
Present.
Lane Daly,
Present.
Tricia Kerr,
Here.
Christina Clarko,
Present.
Michael Didio is excused, Brian Muldrow,
Here.
David Gould.
Present. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Can you remain standing, please, for a moment of silence? And please let's remember John Chelmick, a great employee of Cayuga County, a great friend, a great person. Thank you very much. Please be seated. Okay, we have two public hearings today. Announce them both right now, and that'll be at 10:03. First one is a local law providing for salary increases for certain county official appointed for a fixed term during their term. Second is a local law authorizing the sale of county property located at Old State Road Tax Map number 4.00-1-1.5 and 4.00-1-40 to Paul Kelly and Joan Kelly, trustees, their successors in trust under the Kelly Living Trust. And the number to call in, if anybody would like to comment on both of those, is 315-294-8051, and I will leave that public hearing open for at least an hour. Okay, let's get to the students. First, my first student, my only student, is Alex Church. Can you explain a little bit about your life, Alex? Where you live and where you go to school?
Yeah, I'm Alexander Church. I go to Union Springs High School, senior this year, and I'm planning to go to RIT for engineering.
All right.
All right.
A Union Springs boy. All right. That's my alma mater, another Union Springs. Thank you very much, Alex. Appreciate it. Jim, Lucille?
Yes, with me today is Sean Gilmore from Port Byron, and I'll let him explain a little bit about himself and where he wants to go to school.
I'm Sean Gilmore. I go to Port Byron. I'm a senior. I'm 17. I'd like to go to Clarkson for engineering.
Great. Great job. Okay, Andy, please.
Yes, I have Charlotte Weston. She's a senior at Cato Meridian. She wants to go to nursing school at either Kraus or CCC. And she plans on taking a gap year to go to Germany to work for a year before she does go to college.
Great. Any place special in Germany?
No.
Okay. Well, congratulations on being a nurse. Do me a favor. I'm on the board at the hospital here. Make sure you come here, will you? We need all the nurses we can get. Thank you, Andy. Lydia, District 3.
I'm Madison Gillespie. I go to Port Byron. I'm undecided on where I want to go to college next year, but I'm planning on majoring in psych.
All right. Well, you can come in here for 15 of us. Thank you very much.
You've got good insurance.
Chris?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is Mr. Anthony Lamascolo. He hails from Wheatsport Central Schools, my alma mater. He is on the baseball team. He is looking forward to attending college in the future and studying engineering.
Good, thank you very much. There's a little mix up in the numbers here, so I'm first going to go to Aileen, District 6.
Yes, I'd like to introduce Caroline Smith, and before she talks a little bit about herself, As it turns out, her father and my father served on city council together in Auburn, so kind of a neat connection.
Great.
Hi, I'm Caroline. I am a senior at Auburn High School, and I am planning on attending Furman University this coming fall and playing lacrosse and hopefully becoming a lawyer one day.
All right. Does Matt happen to be your dad?
Yes.
Okay. I'm just kidding. I knew. Congratulations. Thank you. And you got a great dad, you know. All right, Bob.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm blessed by the presence of Timothy Cherry here. He's a senior at Weedsport, and you do the rest.
Obviously, I'm Timothy Cherry. I plan to go to Cornell for molecular biology. I'm 18 years old, but that's about it.
Great, good for you. We can get back to Cayuga County. We can use that too.
You registered to vote, yeah?
Thank you. Hans, sir, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mrs. Wyatt Bruce. Go ahead, Wyatt, please.
Hi, I'm Wyatt Worth. I go to Jordan Elbridge High School. I'm a senior. I'm 17 and I'm undecided on where I'm going to college at.
Thank you very much. Mark.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have to my right here, Mr. Eric Beasley from Jordan Elbridge. Eric.
I'm Eric Beasley. I'm a senior at Jordan Elbridge High School. I'm also 17 and I play football and I'm involved in theater and I'm also undecided where I want to go to college.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Chairman, I also have with me, I'm lucky enough to have two, a Miss Gabby Heim from Moravia.
Hi, I'm Gabby Heim. I'm 17 years old. I'm the FFA president for Moravia's chapter. I play 3 sports and I'm going to Cobleskill for ag.
Congratulations. Great. Oh, Cobleskill is great. It's just not easy to get there. Heidi, please.
I'd like to introduce Caitlin Banman Scoten from Weedsport High School. She will be attending CCC in the fall with intentions to transfer on to OCC or Oswego and is interested in psychology.
Great. Have you met the president of the college yet? Well, I'll introduce you later. Okay, Elaine, please.
I have Mac Mahar with me, son of Melanie and Chris Mahar, because he told me his parents said, anywhere you go, someone will know us. And he's from Auburn High, and I'll let him introduce himself.
Mac Mahar, I'm from Auburn High School. I played 3 sports, and in the future, I'm hoping to study either cybersecurity or business in college.
Great. Thank you. Trish?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have Riley Hill here next to me. She is a student, senior for Elbridge School District. She's actually one of her professors or teachers and somebody I went to school with, Jason Cups, which many of you probably know. Riley, do you want to talk a little bit about your plans for after graduation? I would like to go somewhere in the South for college, and I would like to work in real estate.
Great. Thank you, Riley. Tell Jason I said hi, will you, please?
I will.
Okay, Christina, please.
Hi, I have Isaiah Council, a senior from Auburn High School here with me, so I'll let him share a little bit more about himself.
Hello, I'm Isaiah Council. I'm a senior at Auburn High School, and I play football, and I committed to Union College for football, and I'm gonna major in psychology.
Great, good for you. You play basketball too?
No.
Come on. Congratulations. Thank you. Ryan.
Evan.
I'm Evan Polino. I'm 17. I'm a senior at Weedsport, and I plan to go to college and play soccer as soon as I can and study sport management.
Great, good for you. Thank you. County Attorney, Chris?
Hi. I'm Megan. I'm a senior at Moravia High School. I plan on going to Cobleskill. I'm double majoring in horticulture and fishery wildlife technology.
Great.
And Mr. Chair, I've also informed again that she is first chair here today. So if there's any legal questions, she's obligated to answer. And Wyatt, even though he's now been hijacked by Mr. Petcher, he has offered to be second chair. So I'll be third.
I think they can answer.
I do too. I'm confident in both.
We have what, I think at least 3 from Weedsport and 3 from Jordan Elbridge. So congratulations to those 2 schools. All right, let me just explain to the students the rest of the day. We're going to go through some other stuff, some presentations and stuff. There'll be resolutions. Some of the committee chairs will be introducing the resolution, talking about it so you can hear actually how government works. After that, we'll be leaving here. We got to leave here by 11:30 to get up to the park for a luncheon that starts right at noon because people have things to do. I think you all got to get back to school. Our president of our college, Dr. Durant, will be our main speaker up there after he speaks and after we eat. I'm sure the buses will be waiting for you and everybody can leave. That's just a little quick synopsis, okay? Domestic Violence Awareness Month in Cayuga County, which is October of every year. I did give a plaque, a proclamation on the city's, the courthouse steps last week. And that was given to CAP, so that's already been read. We have 2 presentations, shared services. Lynn, are you able to speak to us on that, please? Yep.
Okay, so several of you have heard this over the years. We are preparing to do our annual shared services plan for the county. Give you a little bit of background on that for those of you who are, it's new for you. So the shared service initiative is we develop a plan to basically save on property taxes for the constituents in Cayuga County. There's a panel that is chaired by a CEO of the county. So that would be Mr. Gould right now. The county is responsible for developing and submitting the plan to the state. The panel members, we currently have, at the minimum, we'd have 33 of them. We would have the Cayuga County Legislature, the mayor, and all the town and village supervisors are also required panel members. We have optional members too. We can invite fire districts, school districts, OCs, and any special improvement districts. They can also be on the panel if they have any shared services initiatives. The CEO will develop a shared services plan after consultation with the panel members. We have several meetings of the panel members to discuss any ideas that they might have for their municipalities amongst themselves, or shared services with the county or with the city of Auburn. After that, the plan will be submitted to the legislature for the review and recommendations of the legislature. They don't really vote to accept the plan. They just can make comments on the plan. The panel then will vote to either approve the plan or they could update an old plan if they would rather. The plan will then have to be submitted to the state before December 31st of any given year. The projects in the plan need to be implemented either between the dates of January 1st to December 31st of 2024, or we could also pick to have a plan start by July 1st of 24 and go through June 30th of 2025. There's a 1-year period of time for each plan. That's where we measured how much money we saved by doing a joint project together. One of the important things is that the shared services projects must be formalized in written agreements. The services do not need to be countywide. A lot of times it might be a small project between 2 municipalities who are neighbors, or maybe a municipality and one of their own school districts, or it could be a bigger project that might involve the county or the city and have a bigger, wider thing. The state will match the funds for any documented savings that we have for a 1-year period. So that is something that we will measure during the 12-month period. To be eligible to be a planned project, go ahead, Amanda. It needs to be a new shared services, or it has to be, you could take an existing shared service that you have and you have to formalize it in writing. That's one of the key components of the plan, is that they have to be a contract that's written between the municipalities that are involved in the project together. The project also cannot be implemented before that start date that I picked. So if it was the starting date of January 1st, it cannot start before that date. And that's very critical. The state will look for that type of information when they're reviewing the projects to provide reimbursement to the municipalities. After you've done your project, so the way that the timeline would be is, for right now, we're going to submit projects in our 2023 plan. They would be implemented in 2024. That means, the municipalities would come together, they do their contracts, and they'd start probably initiating work on either a purchase or a new professional service, or maybe some type of construction. And then in 2025, we would submit for reimbursement from the state for any savings that we did have. That would involve the county collecting data, documentation, invoices, contracts. A lot of detailed paperwork is required to send to the state. They are looking for proof of the shared savings that you had. We then would calculate the savings. The state then distributes basically a spreadsheet to the municipality for you to fill in for your reimbursement. And then you basically start working kind of back and forth with the state and discussing how much reimbursement they're going to give you. Did it qualify? Do we have the right paperwork? We have had some success in getting some reimbursement on some projects. I'm actually working with the state right now on our 2020 shared services plan to hopefully get probably about $300,000 in reimbursement, which most of it would actually be distributed amongst municipalities, not the county. So we have had success with it, even though it's a little bit drawn out in a longer process, but it has had some favorable outcomes for us. So the next slide is going to kind of just show you, we don't have a lot of projects on the table this year. The first one I'm going to be resubmitting to include on our plan is for the fire training center that we plan on hopefully getting built next year. That would be something that's going to benefit all of the volunteer fire districts in the city of Auburn and the county. The second one is kind of an open-ended project to kind of capture any purchases of equipment or maybe some road paving contracts, anything where we come together and purchase something together to help with volume purchasing to get the price a little bit cheaper or piggybacking off of someone else's contract. So that's kind of like an open-ended project right there. The third one is a city court doing an expansion in the county-owned building, which would be the historic post office. That's something that we're also hoping to maybe get started next year. And that would be saving this city money instead of them actually building a separate building by putting it into the county-owned building. So we'll see what type of savings we can get there. There was some discussion at one of our panel meetings about maybe trying to maximize some savings on gasoline purchases with some of the smaller municipalities, trying to either use the county's gas pricing that they already have, that they might be able to save some money there. Number 5 came up that we're looking at maybe doing some joint animal control services with the counties and towns and villages. There's going to be change in the provider of the services. So we're hoping that maybe if we do something together, we'll save some money instead of everybody trying to solve this problem on their own. The 6th project, we had this on last year, and I'll probably keep putting it on as we keep moving along with our digitization of our records at the county office building. At a point, once we've digitized enough of our own records, we're hopefully maybe we'll be able to see if some other smaller municipalities want to somehow be brought into our system, and that would probably be saving them a lot of money instead of them buying their own system to digitize if we just had to expand some licenses or get some more volume. So we're just going to keep including that one until we get to that point that we're ready. So if anybody has any questions, I mean, the panel is still open to suggestions and some ideas. I think the key thing is that they have to be something that can be implemented in 2024. So if it's not something that's remotely possible that we would be able to accomplish it, we could just put it into the next plan. So it doesn't mean that it's, a lost idea or a lost hope. But as we know, a lot of our projects take quite a while to get off the ground and get them moving. So I don't have any more to say. If anybody has any questions.
Any questions at all for Lynn? Andy?
Can you just give one example for the kids?
Yeah, I mean, the most successful example is actually the project that the college and the city of Auburn did together, the baseball field where I'm gonna say the double base play, I don't think it's that anymore, but we, instead of the college putting up a turf field up at the college, they actually joined in with the city, and the city put the turf in at the ballpark, and we got about over $300,000 in savings from the state by doing the project together. One of the other things that we're putting for reimbursement is we put reimbursement in we joined a salt contract with Onondaga County for the highway to put the salt on the roads. And we actually got it a lot cheaper than when we had been buying the salt off of the New York State bid, which we actually thought was the cheapest. So that was a big eye opener. And several other municipalities are also buying their salt that way too. So that saved the county money. Another thing we do is we sell gasoline to a lot of towns and villages that are more local, and the school district especially saves them money because we have big holding tanks for gas. And when the county buys gas, there are a lot of taxes that we don't have to pay that everybody would pay at the pump. So again, it's a big savings that they can buy the gas then from us instead of them having to buy it just at the pump where they don't have big storage facilities for gasoline like we have at the county for the highway. So those are just a couple of simple things. Another project that was kind of really simple was a bunch of towns and villages got together up north and they bought a paving roller together instead of everybody buying their own. So they all put in like 1/5 of the money and they each saved like $40,000. New York State sent them a check for $40,000. So it was kind of very simple project, but they got together. So the whole point of this shared services initiative that started, I want to say probably, I don't know, 5-6 years ago, was to get governments to work together wherever they could, instead of doing the same thing and spending multiple amounts of money. When if you get together and talk, you can actually do it together and save everybody's tax money. So it's been good. I think it gets us all the talk where we hadn't been before. So we'll continue to, I think, do it every year and get together and, see if anybody has any ideas. Because obviously new projects come up every year. Maybe you're going to put a new building. Maybe you're going to have a new service. So that's what we do.
Anything else for Lynn? Yes, Trish.
Lynn, I was wondering what the deadline is for submitting projects for that plan.
Well, it will be definitely December 31st. So, I mean, really until the last minute, we can put something in, honestly. Because if it's not in the plan, you will never get reimbursement for it. But you can put it on there, and if we never do it, we never do it. It doesn't really hurt to just put it on there as an idea. Okay.
Just as a follow-up on that, a few years back, one of the projects that I was looking into is this trail project behind Auburn High School, connecting Emerson Park to the city's river trail on Pulsifer. Part of that's owned by the county, part of that's owned by the school district, I believe. I don't think anything's owned by the city, even though the city has the plan for the trail. And I was wondering if that might be a project potentially, if the county and the district got together to do that upgrade of the trail, make it handicapped accessible, for instance, would that project potentially qualify for shared services?
I mean, it's something I can bring up to the city. They haven't mentioned it when we discussed projects. And obviously the key thing is you have to prove that there's savings from doing something together. So, it could just be a joint project that they want to do together, and we could look to see if it would save any money. I don't know that it would or not. So that's really the key thing that they're looking to reimburse you for is, that you're doing things more efficiently and it somehow saves money, and that's what we'll pay you for. I'll ask them about it when I talk with them.
Thanks.
Anything else? I want to thank Lynn very much. Lynn is our county budget director, so everybody knows that. I want to thank her and my confidential assistant, Sarah Blowers, for helping Lynn. And it's not an easy job. It sounds a little bit easy, but it's not. I've been doing it for years.
I mean,
saving a lot of money.
The unfortunate part is, the state is careful with how they spend their money. So there's a lot of back and forth with us to justify the savings. And there might be people that are trying to not justify it. So we luckily have a partner who helps us also at the state and who's represents Cayuga County, and we've been working with her. And so we just kind of keep at it and pick away at it. And I'm sure we're actually going to be getting some money for this 2020 plan. So we're basically at the end of that one. So.
Thank you very, very much. Sarah, thank you for helping. I'm going to do a little tweaking in the schedule. Probably nobody even knows this because I just decided, but I'm going to go around the room and have all the county employees say who they are and what department they're from. Because a lot of the students see their names on TV or in print or on the line. They'd have no idea who they are, so they can put a face with a name. So why don't we start right off with Jen?
I'm not counting.
No, I'm Jen.
Oh, I'm Jen Marshall. I'm the Deputy Commissioner for Social Services.
Tom Bunn, I work in the IT department as Information Officer. Steve Lynch, I'm the Director of the county's Planning and Economic Development Office.
Brian Soper, I'm the highway superintendent.
Nina Barrera, Secretary to the County Attorney.
Good morning, Jay DeWispalier, Director of Probation.
I'm Stacy Rank. I work in real property services.
My name's Harry Sherman, Deputy Director for Emergency Services.
Riley Shirtliff, Director, Office of Emergency Services.
Brittany Grome-Antonacci, I'm the district attorney.
Gary Duckett, Superintendent of Buildings and Ground.
Doug Kears, the Director of the Soil and Water Conservation District.
Zink Ladus, Stop DWI Coordinator, Department of One.
I'm Lauren Walsh. I'm the Mental Health Director.
David Dempsey, Southern Cayuga, I'm the treasurer.
White Hoskins, Administrator of the St. Council Office.
Rich, you want to go back that road?
Sure. Rich Graham, I'm the Chief Assistant County Attorney.
Good morning, I'm Christine Bianco, I'm the Commissioner for Department of Social Services.
Good morning. I'm Grace Flowers, the Finance Director.
Good morning. I'm Sarah Blowers, the Secretary to the Chairman.
John Evans, I'm the County Grant Manager.
I'm Debbie Dennis, the Youth Bureau Director and Wheat Sport alumni.
Good morning. I'm Kathleen Cuddy. I work as the Cayuga County Public Health Director.
That's it. I thank you all, because now that students have a face to go with a name when they see it. All right, our next one will be, a presentation will be
Housing Visions by Christopher Trevisini.
Trevisini.
Close enough. I'll get it next time.
Chris, thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Your spot. Could you kind of explain a little bit? I know you got a presentation, but what you're doing for the students?
Yeah, sure. So I work for a non-for-profit housing development company based out of Syracuse. Name is Housing Visions. We started as a small kind of neighborhood group on the east side of Syracuse 32 years ago. And really our mission as a non-for-profit is to revitalize neighborhoods that just have seen a lot of disinvestment, some blight, high crime areas, high poverty areas. So we go in, we subscribe to the housing first model. We get people housed, get them focused on housing. And then from that point, they can worry about childcare, job employment, job retention, savings, and then ultimately, once they solve their housing problems, other life issues kind of fall into place. And then so over the 32 years, we've developed close to 2,000 housing units across New York State. We're in just about every major municipality along 90 and 81. So we're in Albany all the way to Niagara Falls. We have projects up in Plattsburgh, Binghamton, and then we do have one development in suburban Philadelphia. So if you can turn, it's kind of a decent segue. So we've been working with various members and stakeholders in this community, City of Auburn, Cayuga County, DSS, the Rescue Mission, Cayuga Health Network, the Housing Authority, and just everyone in terms of what really are the housing needs here in this area. And how can we help as a housing developer and as someone who's able to get resources from the state and the federal government? How can we help you solve some of the housing issues that you're currently facing? And through those meetings, the number one recurring issue in this area is homelessness. Since we met 4 years ago to now, what they do is called a point in time survey, where you figure out how many people each night are homeless. And it doesn't mean you see them on park benches. We house them in hotels. Some people couch surf. You don't see them, but they just don't have a home, and they bounce from friend's house to friend's house, really with nowhere to live. And some of them, unfortunately, are single parents and have children. So we're trying to help solve that problem. Obviously, one development and one project doesn't solve that problem. It's something that needs to happen over time, but we need to gain momentum. We're hoping to kind of get that started. Through the 4 years, we've seen tremendous support from the county. We've received a $250,000 grant to help with some of our due diligence on a number of sites and projects. So the main one we're focused on right now is the existing shelter on Grant Avenue. So those of you who may not know where it is, it's right on Grant Avenue, right next to the Verizon store. It looks like a mini hotel, but it does house, has 16 shelter beds in that right now, which is dramatically undersized. So our goal is to demolish the existing shelter and build a new facility with 80 beds. So we're going to increase it from 16 to 80, and then also have 9 permanent supportive housing units in there. And what a permanent supportive housing unit is, someone can live independently, but on that first floor or somewhere in the area, there are case managers nearby who can provide case management services to that resident and those families on an as-needed basis. So we're looking at multiple sites. So in addition to that site on Grant Avenue, the city of Auburn has generously agreed to donate us the building on 197 State Street, the old Polish home. It has the kind of the curved entry. You'll see a picture of that in a little bit. And then 17 years ago, Housing Visions, we did a small redevelopment on Westlake and Ford Street. So we own 3 properties on there. Our current funding source, which was a tax credit, has served its purpose. So we are now eligible to re-syndicate that so we can raise more tax credits and renovate those properties. So we're looking to include those 3 in a larger development. And then most recently, as of, I want to say Friday of last week, we did sign a purchase contract with the Roman Catholic Archdiocese of Rochester for the former Holy Family School. So they're going to retain the church, but we're going to acquire the school and adaptively reuse that building. We'll put it on the historic registry, and our historic tax credits to do about 15 to 20 permanent supportive housing units there. It does have some interesting community spaces. Obviously, there's a gym and some other quasi-public facilities. So we're going to work and see if there's a way we can incorporate some of those recreational spaces into the overall development project. So 197 State Street, that one we're working with the New York State Historic Preservation Office and the National Park Service to try to figure out what we can do from an adaptive reuse perspective. And when I use those terms, buildings that are over 50 years old or have a historic significance either by use, an architect, or design, if there's an architectural historic feature, they're eligible to be placed on the historic registry. What that means is they're protected from either demolition or just doing dramatic modifications to the building, paint it yellow, just do different window openings, things like that. But when you redevelop them and you comply with their standards, you earn a tax credit. Here, for example, it would be 20% of the costs, federal credit and the state credit. So we're looking to leverage as much as we can on top of what the county has given us and what we are applying for the state, to really put a lot of money in these properties that really need it, satisfying our mission, and also trying to help alleviate some of the housing issues here in the area. These are a couple of properties that we own in Westlake and Fort. Again, these are also part of the historic district. So we have to, again, apply and get our renovation plans approved through SHPO and MPS. And then here's a picture of the Holy Family School that we just placed under contract. And again, that one does have historic features. We're not looking to really renovate or modify the exterior at all. Really just trying to convert some of the existing classroom spaces into nice supportive housing apartments. And then here's the top picture is the existing Grant Avenue shelter. And then the bottom is just an illustrative rendering of one of the design examples. This one has 82 shelter beds, full kitchen, security area, case management services. And we're hoping to kind of complete that design and submit to the City of Auburn Planning Board for their November, December meeting. Not sure if we can get all that in by then, but we're targeting a submission for this year. So I talked about a lot of different properties and a lot of different funding sources. But right now, we were always anticipating doing all of these as one large project. One funding source can't fund all those projects, so we're looking at all these different various funding sources. HHAP is the Homeless Housing Assistance Program, and that's through New York State Office of Temporary Disability Assistance. That one has a current funding application round open now, so we can apply to that as soon as we get our site plan approval and other diligence in place. The Supportive Housing Opportunities Program, or SHOP funds as we call it, that's through New York State Home Community Renewal. That you can apply only once a year with their unified funding round. Same thing with the Federal Housing Trust Fund and the Low Income Housing Tax Credit. The Low Income Housing Tax Credit is a tax credit you earn by offering housing to individuals or families who earn 60% of the area median income or below. That's designed to provide housing to folks who have an income, but they just are spending a disproportionate share of their income to housing. 50–60% income goes to pay rent, and they don't have any money left over. In the event a car breaks down, or God forbid there's a health issue, medical bills stack up, and then things start to spiral. Can't pay rent, they get evicted, and then they're homeless. So this program is to try to, help with that kind of vulnerable population. Because it really can just afford, moderate income housing. And I talked about the federal and state historic tax credits, and then the other kind of gap for we have is based on whatever kind of free cash flow we have. We'll talk to a local lending institution and borrow the balance of the funds for the project. So all those different funding sources, the timeline for review, various applications, state, federal, historic review, HHAP, New York State Homes and Funeral, getting all those together could be out as 27. By the time you receive the funding awards, get your investors on board, doing all your due diligence, and then close. So what we're talking about today is asking for $1 million in ARPA funds, which what that would allow us to do is it will allow us to kind of implement the homeless shelter from the balance of the project. HHAP could fund the homeless shelter. It's not permanent housing, it's transitional housing, so they could fund the balance. And ARPA would get us to that leveraging balance where we could just apply for HHAP on a standalone basis. What that would do is we could be in the ground in 12 months. We apply, get our site plan approval, get HHAP award, we could potentially close by, this time next year, as opposed to 27, 28. What that means is, we can start increasing the amount of emergency shelter beds available to this population 2 years ahead of schedule. So what this does is it leverages the funds that we have available from the state to allow the shelter to be developed first. And what it does is it shows we understand the issues. We're building the most critical housing need first. Let's get people off beds, out of the hotels, into the shelter.
What will the $1 million get us as taxpayers?
$1 million in taxpayers, it gets you the benefit of increasing the amount of emergency beds from 16 to 8. So what happens now, we have others who can talk a little bit more about the operations of how the homeless population is managed every night. For every night, there's now upwards of 100 homeless individuals and families. They go to the shelter, there's only 16 beds available. So if your 17th shelter is full, where do they go? They go to a hotel. There's 3 or 4 hotels that accept the homeless population. So they go to a hotel, and the hotel is obligated to house them. Do you know who pays for that hotel room? You, the taxpayer. to a tune of, what are these?
About $100, $110 a night.
And how much supervision do you think that person has in a hotel? None. So what happens when there's 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 individuals unsupervised all night long? Do you think the police get called? So who pays for the police coming to check the people in the hotel? So you're starting to see how $1 million of federal money coming to this community. And then we apply to New York State for the balance. You're not really paying anything. We're leveraging the state, the federal government's money to solve the local housing issue here. Save money for the police, save money for your county PSS.
And I think, Chris, you told us at the meeting that for that $1 million of ARPA funds, you'll be able to leverage $8 million of state HHAP money.
Correct.
Next question. Oh, sorry. Sorry. But I mean, that's what we're getting at, right? Yes.
Yes.
Gold covered.
Let Sean.
Sean, would you ask?
Yeah, and then the other thing it does, and again, these are questions that, we ask ourselves all the time, is this the right use of money? There's other ancillary benefits that you see, yeah, we're asking for $1 million. But then you're taking 80 to 90 people out of a hotel every night into a shelter with services. But what do you think it does to those hotel rooms now? Now they can get renovated and they're really gonna serve their purpose. They're for people visiting Auburn. They're here to spend money. So it's gonna put people in restaurants and bars and other establishments where they can spend money and the county earns tax dollars and sales tax revenue. As opposed to a hotel room being for someone.
Thank you. I think you have a really good business model. I think you have a good service delivery model. And I'm in support of this project. However, I just looking for a little reassurance. I noticed you talked about the case management, and in my experience, based on the shelters in Onondaga County that I work with, there's a comprehensive supervision. So I hear you speaking with regard to the case management, helping facilitate interactions with the community and service delivery. But I'm hoping that you're also gonna, in your agreement, have agreements or look to make agreements with either the sheriff's department or APD to provide on-site law enforcement such as they do in Onondaga County. So hopefully that's part of your.
That is an excellent question, comment, and we're in the kind of the development business and the permanent housing business. By no means are we shelter operator. So we have a housing services agreement in place with the Rescue Mission. Rescue Mission has experience in a larger shelter in Onondaga County. We've had 3 meetings with Rescue Mission and DSS. There's been talks of, okay, these are the things we're gonna want at a minimum if we're gonna consider operating a shelter. Number 1 was a contract with the police department to show there's a 24-hour presence for security. And they're saying their experience in Tompkins and in Onondaga County, when there is sheriff presence there, the amount of bad behavior is reduced significantly.
Thank you.
Where does the ongoing cost of having supervision there, the maintenance and all that in the future, where does that come from? Or the revenue to pay for that come from?
So on the permanent supportive housing side, there is operating dollars that are financed through the Empire State Supportive Housing Initiative, which is another state program. And then the balance is how the current shelter is operated now with a contract between DSS and the shelter operator.
Any other, yeah, go ahead.
Down the road, what would be the cost to the county to run the shelter through the rescue mission?
That's a
That's a
county
great
rescue
question.
mission.
And, we don't have an operating budget from the rescue mission right now for the total operating cost.
one of the things that we've talked a lot about here is it's hard to say like exactly what the cost savings, or even if there's going to be cost savings to the county by setting up this model of having a large shelter versus 2 small shelter sites and many hotels. We do have a handful of hotels in the county. What we do know is that providing shelter to individuals in a setting that's more supervised, more safe, and more supportive is going to be a big change in how we're doing business right now. I think everybody, knows that we wish we could do better for the folks that are housed in the hotels. It can be very, very difficult for individuals and families to be in hotels for long periods of time. Some folks stay in shelters for a few days, but there are folks that stay in shelters for months, sometimes many months. We have a huge problem in this county with very low rent apartments for families and individuals, and it's very hard for folks to, even if they're doing their very best, to actually find sites to move into apartments. So I think we have not been able to come up with an exact amount. I mean, we will be working with the rescue mission to come up with an operating budget that's based on all of the things that they will provide: the case management, housing, the cleaning that has to take place, food. It's a very big operation of the rescue mission in Syracuse, and it is amazing what they put together and how efficiently it runs. But it isn't cheap. But I'm hoping that we're going to be able to work with them soon to come up with an operating budget and present it to the body here. When we when we get there.
Jim, go ahead.
So we heard that, there's only 16 beds and so forth. So just to put it in perspective, if we spend 30 to 50 people a night in a hotel at $100 a night throughout the year, that ranges anywhere from $1.25 million to $1.8 million that the county taxpayers are paying now. So something like this, anything we can do to reduce that cost and a small investment of $1 million of our ARPA funds to get $8 million to build this structure. Once they hone down on the operating costs, if it's anywhere in the, a range of $50 or less, you're going to double the amount of people you can take care of for the same amount of dollars, just about.
One thing, Mr. Rosillo, that you asked me to look into when we were there last week was average length of stay.
Yes.
In a hotel versus average length of stay in a shelter. And I did a little bit of research on that topic, and I was able to pull up some data that showed that for folks in 2023 that were discharged from emergency housing in a hotel versus people that were discharged from emergency housing or in a shelter, there was a 30-day difference. The length of stay was 30 days less for the people that stayed in the shelter beds versus the hotel beds. That's a pretty significant amount of time. The average length of stay was, I think, 57 days versus 87 days.
So if you
So you can see with those supportive services and folks, making sure that people have what they need, they're able to be more successful at discharging out of that setting.
that's $150,000 in that 30 days that we didn't spend. If you had it, the idea is to give people a hand up, not a handout, and they end up in a hotel, it seems more like a handout. So it's about everything we do is based on taking tax dollars, taking somebody's money and redistributing it. Our job is to make sure we do it as fiscally responsible as possible on how we do that and get as much bang for our buck.
Thanks, Jim. Mark?
Yeah, I just more of a comment than anything. As most of you know, at the Ways and Means, I was against this resolution, and several people offered me the opportunity. Christine offered me the opportunity to come down to her office and speak. I was there yesterday, and Christine was not, but I did get the opportunity to speak with Ken Marshall, and myself and Legislator Kay spent probably the better part of an hour down there. Probably some of my questions were answered. I still have several. But I would offer that I will at this time support this resolution today. So I just want to thank Jen for her time. But I would just want to offer that I was opposed at Ways and Means with a soft no, but today I'll be a yes.
Andy?
This is probably more for you, Mr. Chairman, because I just asked Charlotte, do you even know what ARPA means? And she said no. So maybe you can actually explain to the.
It's the American Rescue Plan that gave the state, federal government actually gave the state money to send to each municipality, depending on the population and the need. Money to spend certain categories we have to spend it on. Our county got, I think it was 14.4. The city got quite a bit. The villages and the towns got a little bit, but it's money that, again, is categorized. You have to spend it a certain way and certain way. Lynn has been keeping track of that, and I appreciate it. She's done a great job. We have an ARPA committee, a 4-man ARPA committee that has been getting these requests, filtering through them, and will bring them as they get them to the full ledge to vote on.
And that was related to COVID.
Related to COVID. Thanks, Andy. Good question.
And has to be spent or it goes back.
Yeah, it has to be committed by 2004, the end of it, and spent by the end of 2006. Bobby?
You mentioned Holy Family. Are you going to convert that into beds as well, or?
Permanent housing.
Permanent, great. And how many do you hope to get out of that?
15 to 20, depending on what the SHPO will let us do.
So in addition to the Grant Ave project of 80 some beds, we're approaching like 100.
Yep, so 80 beds. There's 2 kind of observation beds where the count will stay at 80 on Grand Ave, but also there's 9 permanent supportive housing units on Grand Ave. We're hoping between 16 and 20 on State Street, Polish Home. Then we're also gonna, renovate our existing units, but we may be able to get 2 or 3 additional, because we're gonna convert some larger 4 and 5 bedrooms into a couple of 2 or 3 bedroom units. And then, Holy Family would be another 20 or so.
Great, thank you.
Elaine?
I'm curious, the projects you're doing for these housing units, will they be tailored to people who have low income and can't currently find any place they can afford to rent a portion of them, or?
Yes. So a portion of them will be permanent supportive housing units. So whether they're coming from the shelter or somewhere else referred by DSS or others, the Health Network and Rescue Mission will provide support service somewhere around of the overall unit count. And again, these are yearly leases. So in a 1-year lease, they have to show the ability to pay. So they're going to have support services to maintain that. And then the balance of the development will be anywhere from 50 to 60 to maybe 80% area median income. So that could be income ranges from $25,000 to $50,000. So we're hoping to really widen the array and offer housing.
Similar to the model at West High School?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
Anything else for Chris? If not, Chris, I want to thank Larissa. Trish, I'm sorry.
Yes, Chris, I just want to say how excited I am to hear this presentation and the point that you're at now with kind of chunking off the emergency shelter piece to expedite that. We've all heard over the years how much it's costing the county, the current way we're housing our homeless in the hotels. But for me, it's also about the outcomes. It's the opportunities that we're providing for the most vulnerable people in our community to be successful. And the current system doesn't work. People are going into hotels and being exposed to all kinds of dangerous situations that are triggering causes of homelessness to begin with, recovery, substance abuse, things like that. There's also all kinds of crime in those hotels. So I think that piece is, for me, the most important, is that we're investing in solutions that are gonna end homelessness, not just perpetuate a cycle of recidivism. So I want to thank you for the work and piecing together all the funding sources and the partners to get us to this point. I'm really excited to see it move forward.
Thank you.
Anything else for Chris? If not, I'd like to say a couple of comments too, Chris. I know you've been to several of our meetings and I invited you today, so everyone can hear, including the students. Another great job. I want to thank certainly Chris and Jen for working with you. We've been working on this for 2 years since I got here, and it's now hopefully going to come to conclusion. I want to thank Elaine and Trish both, and Aileen, for working with you as far as the legislators. Everybody's worked together for the benefit of these people that are down and out that need our help. We all in here have a heart or we wouldn't be here. So thank you for doing this in housing visions. We really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Support.
All right, thank you.
Chair,
Yes.
when you announce the county employees, you have 3 of them up there.
Oh, you're right. Oh, how can we leave
Man,
these
you
2
did
ladies
forget about
out?
us.
Oh, my God. Good point, good point. Well, Chris, yeah, Chris was, I think, introduced before, but go ahead.
Okay. I'm Amanda Morgan. I'm the deputy clerk of the legislature.
I'm Sheila Smith. I'm the clerk of the legislature.
Notice they didn't volunteer. Hi, Chris.
Chris Palermo, county attorney.
Thanks for bringing that.
2 ladies keep us straight.
Try.
Now we have privilege of the floor and we have Dan Wilson, who is the mayor of Don Wilson, who is the mayor of Cayuga.
Don't worry. Don, could you just come up to the podium?
I gotta go to the podium too.
It's easier. Everybody can hear you that way a little better. Thanks, Don, for coming. Appreciate it.
Well, I promise I'd be shorter than Bob Shea, so I gotta sit tight for a while. So, I am the mayor of the village of Cayuga. I'm only here to talk on behalf of Steve Lynch, and I just have to say the amount of work that they've done since February of this year. The state of New York offered to do the shared services, like shared services. It's the downtown revitalization initiative that the city of Albany has been a part of. Several communities in our area has. And now we are allowed to do it as a joint program. Ourselves, Village of Cayuga, Aurora, and Union Springs, we have partnered up. And we've worked really hard since February to put together quite a program. If you guys get a chance to go on, county planning has done just a great job for us on top of their normal workload, because every community here has either like a zoning rewrite or an LWRP or some kind of grant program the county planning is working on. And they approached us. Not only did they do the DRI with us, but they also did the New York Forward grant for us at the same time. And I can't say enough about the program that we've done since February. As many of you know who are in government, it's like herding cats to get everybody in the same room and to agree upon things at the same time. And Jim and Robbie Thurston from Union Springs, we've done a bang up job. We're really working hard at getting 18 miles of revitalization money done in that region, which is the 10 million we would get from the state of New York, plus the private partnerships from the villages and the private investors in our communities would be well over $25 million worth of revitalization along the Route 90 corridor. Chairman Gould's a Cayuga kid like I am. We grew up there. My generation's a little bit different than the chairman's. He remembers when there was business and when there was taverns and
dirt roads.
There was. Well, I remember the years of paved roads, not the dirt ones, but I also remember the years of Seek and Mill closing down and most of the industry leaving our small village. Now, since COVID and with Airbnb and tourism traffic coming to our village, this revitalization money is going to be changing for us. I know, listening to numbers here at the county, you talk about $3, $4, $5, $6 million bouncing around, and it doesn't seem like a whole lot of money. But when you get a community the size of Union Springs and even Aurora, but for Cayuga, that's huge money. That changes a lot of things, and it changes the face of our small community. And if you do get the chance to go on the website to see the work that Steve and Carrie and those guys have done at county planning, along with the hard work from the members of all three communities, it's pretty impressive to see where we're headed. And I really think that these joint DRI programs and the shared services programs, this is going to be the future of how our small communities survive when we're trying to leverage against the city of Auburn or bigger communities that we have to kind of state our case against. I'd like to thank Eileen for your help with the senator, Jeff Gallahan for his help doing this. Bob, we've really done a great job, and I'm proud of the work that the county planning has done. And I'm thankful for the opportunity to just sit here and say how much I think that Jim Orman and Aurora and Thurston and his staff in Union Springs and the staff that we have in the village of Cayuga, they've really done a great job. I'm proud to sit here and represent them. We have our presentation to the Central New York Regional Economic Development Council on Monday in the afternoon. All three villages are going to state their case for New York Forward. And then the three of us will get together and put our best case forward for the DRI. And I really think that we stand a very strong chance. And every bit of it is because of Steve and Carrie and the hard work that they have done to provide this for us. And I think that it just goes to show how important county planning is and the job that they have done for us is, I appreciate it. I really do. And make sure Carrie knows, of course. So, but that's all I have. Hopefully I'm shorter than Bob. Thank you, Chair. It's an honor to talk in front of a Cayuga kid as a Cayuga kid. And I appreciate it.
Thanks so
Thank you,
much,
guys.
Mayor. I appreciate it. And I think everybody in there can echo what Don says about Steve and his department. Not only help Cayuga, Union Springs and Aurora, but many other towns and villages in this county. You do a great job, Steve, and please tell your department that we feel the same way.
Thank you. I will.
And Don, it's so nice to have a mayor or anyone stand up here and thank us, because 99% of the time we just get the other way. So thank you very much for your
It's
nice
like that in the village too, so.
Well, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Anything else for the mayor? Okay, if not, continuing.
Minutes to approve.
And I'll let Lydia wants to get involved in that one.
Move it.
Is there a second?
Second over here.
All right. All in favor?
I'd move to approve the minutes.
Okay, all in favor to approve the minutes? Any discussion? Any negative? Minutes are passed. Thank you. Thank you very much, ma'am. Okay, next will be communications and, oops, go ahead.
Next, we have communications and announcements.
Which I've got on the agenda, none, unless somebody has one. Okay, next is.
We have the CCC report by Dr. Durant, who is the president of the college.
Thank you.
Morning, everyone.
Mr. President.
Good to be with you. Fortunately, drew the short straw to hear me a couple of times today. But as a midpoint in this meeting, I just want to say, if you've learned anything today so far, the importance of caffeine and hydration, because the meetings go and go. But the other thing that I think is important, you have to pay attention. I just learned from the chairman that I should take a moment and thank the legislature and the county for all the work that they do to support the country. Just mentioned, it's nice to be heard. But what's most important today, though, honestly, as you're thinking about as a student and your aspirations and goals that I'll talk about probably in an hour or so, is think about what we've already been able to witness in this room this morning. The number of department heads, from employment and training to probation to parks to human services to social services, public health to finance to the attorneys to the clerks and goes on and on and on. It literally takes a village of dedicated public servants committed for our community, committed to the residents and the citizens, to be able to not only be there in the moments of crisis like we saw during the peak of COVID, but to be able to be here and serve day in and day out in preparation to be proactive or responsive. And all the things we've been able to witness so far with the presentations for housing, thinking about homelessness, thinking about shared services and maximizing government resources from the state and locally. It's important information, and these individuals amongst us that are elected, that serve, They are committed to represent us as a resident of Cayuga County. And just think about the array of information they have to gather to be able to be informed, not only represent those who put them in office, but for their own compass, their own purpose. It's just a very powerful thing. And I don't think, sometimes I like to make my little comments, but I also don't want to minimize the role and responsibility. And you all as leaders today in your schools and in your community and your own sphere of influence and your opportunities in the future, I think just keep being mindful of that, what you're seeing today. It's an amazing thing that the county puts together. And I know it's been a number of years since we've been able to have sort of this normalcy back together. Not what I'm here to talk about, though. I'm here to talk about Cayuga Community College. And at the college this far, we're obviously in the middle of our fall semester. And I'm certainly pleased to be able to say that this fall, we have actually hit our enrollment target and exceeded it. And we are on pace to be up in enrollment about 2% from this time this year compared to last year. That's a remarkable feat for us. And I would love to tell you all the reasons and actions that we took to be able to get there. Can't. But what I can tell you is we're proud of it. And we are confident that we're able to hopefully continue to see individuals like some of you today, not only think about Cayuga as a choice, but also to look at our efforts, which is more important, about how we're connecting with various groups like your school district, like other colleges, like employers, to be able to create multiple pathways that take, our part in your educational journey or your workforce training and be able to help set you up for your successes. Whether you're someone that's 15 years old and a freshman in high school, like some of you have been, taking a dual enrollment course that counts for high school credit in college, or whether you're someone who may be later in life or in career and says, I just want to take this particular course to learn something and gain a skill, or perhaps explore a hobby. That's what the community college mission is about, right? Lifelong learning, array of opportunities that connect and meet people where they're at, and provide an opportunity for self-enrichment, betterment, preparation for workforce, and certainly seamlessness for pathways for traditional education. At the college this year, we're also been focused on developing and implementing a new strategic plan. And although I won't go into all of that, one of our core pillars for this year, led by our board of trustees and the rest of our administration, faculty, is we're looking to do something that's critically important for you, the student. How many of you here today, even if you're past graduate in high school, have taken one of a Cayuga Community College class while you're in high school? Please, more than one. Yeah, thank you. You never know, right? Lawyers will tell you, ask the question that you hopefully know the answer already. But when you think about that, so one of the responsibilities that the college has, many of you mentioned your goals. You're looking to go and study various high quality institutions, which is an amazing thing. But one of my responsibilities is to be able to work with your school district officials and work with college officials and to be able to create these pathways that not just talk about those particular courses as a course that you took, but what it means to you for your future and how it will help accelerate your journey through your 4-year degree, your 2-year degree, on your road to your master's degree, or your law degree that we heard. So this year, one of our core goals is we're looking at district by district, taking a map of all the courses. And I can tell you at pretty much every district within our service area, we have anywhere between 8 and 15 associate degrees that just by the courses we offer could put you in a position that 50% or more of an associate's degree completed. It's our job as an institution, your leadership in the respective districts, to package that, market that, and communicate it. So that way you know that when you're in 10th grade and you're taking an introduction to a course, a business course, an English course, a government course, a psychology course, a criminal justice course, whatever it may be, that it means something. It's a SUNY Gen Ed. It's highly transferable. It's going to be able to put you in this position here. And these are the institutions that are going to value it. So one of our goals at the college, and we're going to be speaking about this in the community, and we'll be speaking about this publicly over the next year, is trying to put together a number of 3-year pathways for bachelor's degrees, where in essence, the first year will be completed while students are in high school, We will accept those credits for a one-year stop at Cayuga and then have alignment with multiple bachelor granting institutions or four-year schools that will be able to accept those, hopefully with some scholarship incentives, and be able to put you on pace for a three-year accelerated bachelor's degree. 2,000 students are currently enrolled in high schools, also enrolled at Cayuga Community College. And through this strategic plan, through this next effort of enrollment, we want to show you that we can maximize the value of those courses and be able to demonstrate to you how it can fit into a bigger picture. Whether you come to Cayuga after or not, that's your individual choice. You must go where you want to go, and you need to go and enjoy your experience as you have it defined. I hope you'll come. But I also know that each person's journey is their own, and they should embrace it. But as an administrator, certainly as leader of the college, we want to show you the value that you've created for yourself and let you make the best choice you can for your future. I'll talk more later on, but I appreciate the chance to talk to you today.
Thank you, Brian. Any questions for Dr. Duran? Jim?
It's not really a question, just a comment, especially since we have the students here. And I'm glad to hear about this program. My daughter 15 years ago went to Cayuga Community College for 2 years while she was trying to figure it out. For those that stood up and said undecided, you're not on an island. You're not the first student that wasn't really pick what you wanted to do. But after those 2 years, she was able to transfer and ended up going to Texas State University and received her bachelor's. You know, and as a dad, the financial savings of using a local community college while trying to figure out what you want to do is not the worst thing in the world. And that's for the parents out there too.
Thanks, Jim.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Jim kind of stole my thunder a little bit. You know, our community colleges, there's not many counties in the state that have a community college. We are so damn lucky that we have one and have had one for a long time. And again, there's nothing embarrassing about, maybe embarrassing is the wrong word. There's nothing wrong with going to a 2-year community college for people that do not know what they, as Jim said, what occupation they want to be in, can't afford a bigger college. And it's just a great thing to have here. And since Dr. Duran's been here, I've known him. We've done an outstanding job. The staff up there has done an outstanding job. And we truly appreciate everything that the college has done for this community for a long, long time. And thank you, Doctor. We'll talk to you later. You'll be speaking at Emerson Park. Thank you. Okay, moving on. Department reports. Shireen couldn't be here earlier and had to leave, but she sent out a report. I think all the legislators have seen it. If not, please read it. Any questions, get a hold of Shireen at the beginning of the week or get a hold of myself. I can add that thank God that we have Shireen here working with us. Actually, it's been probably 1.5 years now. She's done an outstanding job. Every person that works for the county that's in this room or not in this room knows who Shireen is. She's made it a point to visit every department and get to know everyone. She's done an outstanding job. So I just want to thank her. It's another great report. Okay.
Now we have the committee reports and individual legislators reports.
Lydia, we'll start off with you.
Thank you. My town meetings this month, there was a concern about reduced access to holding facilities / dog shelter. A dog warden who covered many of our towns has retired, and in the search for a replacement, discovery of a shortage of New York State approved facilities keeps surfacing in many towns. In one of my town meetings, there was a concern about an AMR ambulance service was brought up, and we were asked what is going to be done to backfill this service. Election day is in 2 weeks, and there are 2 propositions on the ballot. One about removal of a small city school district from special constitutional debt limitation and other extending sewage project debt exclusion from debt limit. Voters should educate themselves to the issues or choose not to vote on them. A coin toss election process is not the right answer. Thank you.
Anything else? All right. Appreciate it. And I know there's one more. Mark, you had something that you'd like to say?
Yeah, it's not necessarily a report, but just be aware, traveling around the county as I do, My wife passed through Montezuma the other day. Gas at the gas station there at the Four Corners in Montezuma was $3.59. I was in Homer yesterday. Gas was $3.47. But at the end of the lake and down in the town of Moravia, gas is still $3.99. That leads me to wonder why. And I assure you, I will keep track of it and questions to come. Thank you, sir.
So if anybody wants cheap gas, drive to Moravia, Mark's.
No, don't come to Moravia. It's too expensive.
The Montezuma will welcome you all.
Anybody else, any other legislators would like to make a comment or ask a question?
I'd just like to recognize the 1 year anniversary or close to it 1 year anniversary of Deborah Dennis, our new Youth Bureau Director, who has invigorated the Youth Bureau in this county after many years of sort of laying fallow. And as a result, we are all here together, youth and others legislating, talking about policy and law. And I just want to recognize that we've been able to accomplish that in a year.
Thank you. That was in my report, but thank you. We got one more department head that just came in. Kev, could you stand and introduce yourself, please?
You missed it.
Oh, I missed the introduction. I'm Kevin Swab. I'm the Director of Veteran Services for Cayuga County.
Thank you, Kev. All right, I am going to close both local laws. Right now, I've got 11:16. So both of those will be closed. All right, moving into my report, I am going to make it brief because as I said, we want to be out of here by 11:30. I don't think we're going to make it, but we're going to have to go through the resolutions really quick. In fact, I didn't realize it was that late, so I will keep mine really brief. Again, I think Heidi just said it, but we want to thank you, Deb, where are you? Behind the chair. You and your staff, which is ex-staff, Lloyd, for working on this. I took a lot. I used to come to these when I was the sheriff. This is the best meeting of the year. There's no doubt about it. For the legislators that haven't been to one, it's great to have the students here. They're all volunteers, these students. The teachers didn't say you're going to Government Student Day. They're all volunteers. They wouldn't be here unless they just wanted to get out of school. But I think it's obvious that they care about being here or they wouldn't be. So I want to thank you for that, Deb. I want to thank our county attorney's office. They've been handling so many things on the civil, the Department of Civil Service side. As everybody in here knows, we're down 3 attorneys. As of Friday, I think we're only going to be down 2, thank God. But Chris, you and your staff, thank you very much for handling the county attorney jobs, plus the family court and civil court. Really appreciate it very much. Thank you. I want to thank Lynn and Shireen for working on the budget with myself. It's been a long few months. It's not completed yet, but it will be. We'll be having some legislative meetings to go over the budget, amend it, whatever you choose to do. And that will be coming up within the next month. So I appreciate that. I appreciate the kids and the students coming to the luncheon. I think you'll learn a lot from Dr. Durant during his speech. I think he's a great speaker and I'm very glad that he accepted. As far as our departments and our department heads and our employees, I say this every month and I'll continue for the next 2 months, that we have the staff in the whole county, in the whole country, as far as I'm concerned, but our department heads are amazing. What they do with their staffs are amazing. They work hard. I've said it before, if you're not in this building every day, you don't know what they do. They just work really hard all day, every day, and we really appreciate what they're doing, and certainly their staff. Be able to be done without them. So I want to thank all the employees very, very much. And I want to again thank all the students for coming today, and hopefully you'll enjoy the rest couple hours and then you'll be headed back to class. I believe. Okay, moving right on to resolutions. Oh, before I do that, one other thing. I just wanted to thank Shireen again. I know she's not here, but I think she's listening. All the new, things that she's put together has been amazing with working with Sheila and Amanda, all our policies. It's taken literally over a year to work on some of these policies. A lot of people did it together. I know Tom and Steve worked with them on different things, but it really was overdue. A lot of our policies were decades old, and it's been updated, and we really appreciate that. So again, moving on to our resolutions, and we've already talked to legislators about which ones they may want to choose so the students can hear some debate. So we'll start right off with Hans.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ways and Means has 9 resolutions. They've all been through the committee. I'd like to offer them as a bundle unless anybody wants any separated. Thank you again.
Anybody, Hans, did you want to separate any of these so we could discuss them? All right, all in favor of the bundle? Whoops, go ahead.
Can we separate WM6, please?
I'm sorry, which one?
WM6.
Okay. Okay, let's do the bundle 1 through 5 and 7 through 9. Any, make a motion for that? Second?
I'll move it. Second.
Discussion on those. If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passed. WM6, Hans. You want to read that, Hans? WM6.
Adopting a local law authorization, the sale of county property located at Old State Road, tax map number 4.00-1-1.5 and 4.00-1-40 to Paul G. Kelly and Joni Kelly, trustees of their successors of trust under the Kelly Living Trust.
Okay, motion.
I'd like to move for discussion.
You got to have a motion and second
I'll
first.
second.
Who made the motion? Jim? Second by Elaine. Okay, discussion.
So the reason we pulled this is we just wanted to be sure to know that this is out of our district. This is in District 1. And it puts these properties back on the tax rolls. And one of these 2 properties is landlocked, so it's important that it gets back on the tax rolls. And that this, if there was any questions, I was here to answer them on behalf of the Kellys with regard to this. Other than that, we'd like to see it moved.
Thanks, Jim. Discussion on that? Any comments from Jim? Andy?
I'll just add my usual government shouldn't be in the business of real estate to start with, so we shouldn't own as much as what we do, other than the essential buildings and things that we need. So I'm all for it. We need to look at more.
Further discussion? If not, all in favor, WM6?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Yes, thank you. Health and Human Services, Elaine.
Yes, I need a hook if it takes too long, but Health and Human Services this month had 11 resolutions and HH 12 was added, which nicely fits in with our presentation today, Housing Visions. There were resolutions submitted from all the departments that report to Health and Human Services except for Youth Bureau. So we have resolutions from Health, Social Services, and Mental Health. I'll just go over a few of them. HH 1.
Elaine, one second, I'm sorry.
Chair, point of order. Just maybe someone could help clarify. Did 7, 8, 9, and 10 get passed without my knowledge?
For Ways and Means?
Yes.
It was bundled as part
I
of.
thought you said 1 through 5.
No,
I could have been wrong.
5 and 7 through 9.
Is it everything minus 6?
Everything minus.
That was the first one. That was Ways and Means.
Oh, yes, correct. Just for clarification.
Yep.
Sorry for the interruption. I just want to make sure.
All right, thanks, Chris. Elaine, I'm sorry.
No problem. HH 1 is permission to fill the senior nutritionist program in WIC. And, for the kids in the audience today, the young adults, the health department does receive over $400,000 from the state to run a program serving pregnant women, postpartum women, infants, and children. And the health department has this fully funded program and serves the community countywide. There is a request to purchase some software, that's HH3, $50,000 using extra revenue coming into the health department. And this is to more efficiently help them administer the preschool special education program, serving kids between the ages of 3 to 5 who need special education. For those who don't know, the county is responsible to pay those costs authorized by each of the school districts. And this is one of the highest mandated costs in the health department budget. Social services, there's a contract between social services and county mental health to get access to a required assessment provided by a qualified professional. And this assessment is needed for a child to stay in out-of-home placement. The assessment results go to the court, and part of the Family First legislation requires substantial efforts to be taken to keep children at home or with relatives and out of residential care. So this assessment helps guide the court in the decisions and allows kids who don't need this high level of care to come back into the community. Two resolutions, HH 5 and 6, have to do with Chapel House. And again, we're paying right now to provide case management and shelter beds to those in need of emergency shelter. We'll be able to kind of segregate all of those costs at one point if HH 12 passes. There's a request to fill a caseworker assigned to adult protective, and the county Department of Social Services has 25 caseworkers working in various programs, including child protective, preventive, and adoption. Mental health, there is a resolution to adjust some state aid payments to the counties to the agencies that receive it. The county, through the Director of Community Services, passes through millions of state aid dollars to organizations who provide services to the 3 disability groups, serving people with developmental disabilities, mental health issues, and those with substance use disorder. And then last on on mental health is HH 9 and 10. The department is accepting 2 grants, a $40,000 grant from Farnham Family Services that will address some substance use disorder strategies. And then an exciting $4 million grant, $1 million each year for 4 years to implement dialectic behavioral therapy in schools to address some of the mental health crisis we see in our youth. The schools that the department will be working with are to start Cato, Union Springs, and Moravia. Office for the Aging is advertising for a bid for their meal program, for their senior nutrition program. The program serves over 500 seniors countywide each year in congregate sites and home delivered meals. Lastly, HH 12, if this passes, we will be using $1 million out of our $14.7 million of ARPA funds to break out the shelter proposal. If this, once built, I feel gives support to those who need to move to permanent housing and get people out of hotel stays. So I would ask if the resolutions HH 1 through 12, we get a motion to pass them and see if we can get full support.
Move it as a bundle.
I'll second in the bundle.
Any further discussion or any discussion?
Yeah, HH 12, I'm all for. My only issue is, I mean, it flew here within a week or so. Where did the other, I recall, because I wasn't here last week. We had 3 different things that we're told to put in your request for the ARPA. And I see 1 out of the 3 on this agenda. Are the other 2? I mean, my biggest concern, because students, government doesn't work fast, is we have to do this, delegate this ARPA money by the end of next year. How does something like this get, boom, it's on the agenda after talking about it 10 days ago? And the other 2 things I've asked, he's not here anymore, our highway superintendent, he goes, I don't know, I haven't heard anything back about putting in his request for the, what is it, Long Hill Road project or whatever. I mean,
if I could just kind of get some clarification on that. I did not initially bring this resolution for the $1 million of ARPA funds. I asked Sheila and Rich to look at a draft if the decision was to maybe move it towards this meeting or to Ways and Means. And it was the committee, HHS committee, who recommended that it get included this month on the agenda. I think that we are still, to your point, Andy, we're still waiting for the written proposal about the second source and the Long Point. I think that's still being worked on. Brian, yes, he did bring a proposal to, I guess, the ARPA committee for the Long Hill Road. But, I didn't work on drafting a resolution for that. I'm not sure where the committee stands yet. We haven't really met on we would use our ARPA funds for this kind of initiative, but there did seem to be full support to allow this $1 million, which is in the restricted category that we have to spend, because Lynn found out that besides broadband and water and sewer, low-income housing meets that criteria. So that's pretty much how it ended up getting on the agenda. But to your point, we have not met and talked about the highways proposal. And we're still waiting for something in writing on the second source of water proposal.
Does that help any?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just, obviously I want us to be.
Right.
Yeah.
That's why I signed originally a 4-committee person,
Yeah.
Republican, 2 Democrat, to be on that ARPA committee, and bring the request to the full ledge, which is Christina, Elaine, Bob, and Jim. So hopefully that answers your question. I know there's more, Heidi.
I just wanted to mention that at the Health and Human Services Committee meeting that this was brought forward, there was a very important time issue in terms of getting those matching $8 million funds. The proposal and the work needs to be in by November 7th, which required us to make a decision this month on this particular project in order for him to move forward with the proposal and get that match of $8 million funds.
Thanks, Heidi. That was a good point. Chris, did you have?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to echo what Heidi said, that was one of the motivating factors why we move so expeditiously. And I also wanted to add that I, for one, am grateful that government is acting uncharacteristically fast in this example, because this issue has been festering, if I can use that word, for a while. And it behooves us to get out in front of it. So please take that into consideration in your vote.
I'd like to pull HH 12.
From the bundle.
We have a motion, a second.
Yeah, I need a motion. That's the motion. Do I need I have a second for pulling HH 12?
It's already in the original bundle though.
Yeah.
With a motion.
Well, he can still pull it. I can still pull it, but I'm not going to if the majority doesn't want to.
I think the vote, did we already?
We didn't vote on the bundle. There's been too much discussion on HH 12.
We didn't move
No.
and second the bundle HH 1 through 12.
We
Are
did
you
not.
looking to just separate?
Separate.
Oh, you said pull. There's a difference.
Yeah, I think they're just trying to separate HH 12 from.
All right, well, that's
bundle.
totally different. Okay. All right, let's, everybody in favor of HH 1 through HH 11?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Passed. HH 12, Elaine, if you want to read it again.
HH 12 is to appropriate $1 million of ARPA funds to assist in the building of a new emergency shelter in Cayuga County.
Move it.
Second.
Any discussion on HH 12? That's the one we've been discussing for 5 minutes.
Roll call vote.
I'm sorry, Ron.
Roll call vote, please.
Roll call vote. Okay, ladies. Just so let me explain to the students, a roll call vote is, you'll see it on the monitor. If everybody gets to vote either yes or no on it, and depending on how many yeses it passes or noes fails.
Imbecile,
Yes.
Andy Dennison,
Yes.
And it-
Yes.
Gotta yell it out.
You're sitting with the wrong guy to whisper.
Lydia Patty Rafidi,
Yes.
Chris Petras,
Yes.
Aileen McDade Coleman,
Yes.
Bob Shay,
Yes.
Hans Petcher,
Yes.
Mark Strong,
Yes.
Heidi Nightingale,
Yes.
Lee Daly,
Yes.
Tricia Kerr,
Yes.
Christina Clarko,
Yes.
Michael Didio is excused, Brian Muldrow,
Yes.
David Gould,
Yes.
passed.
Okay, thank you. That's passed. Government ops, Chris.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Government operations had 5 resolutions. They have been through both committees, and at this time will offer GO 1 through 3 as a bundle, and I am donating GO 4 and 5 to the chair of planning for passage.
Okay, motion for GO 1, 2, and 3.
Move it.
Second, discussion. Hearing none, all in favor? Anyone opposed? Passed. Okay, thanks, Chris. Planning, Bob, now you have 2 resolutions.
Excuse me, Chairman.
Yes.
So if we would like discussion for GO4.
Okay. I'll let Bob start it off though. Okay.
Offer GO4.
Okay, a motion for GO4.
Move it.
Second? Second. Discussion, GO4.
Question about the digital program. The original funding, what was the breakdown of that?
$4 million, I believe, Mr. Chair.
I
And I think this is an additional grant.
So we got a grant for 2 million.
The original breakdown was $4 million, 2 million from ARPA. 3 million from ARPA.
I believe it was 3 million from ARPA and I think $1 million out of general fund, if I'm not mistaken.
So my question is, why not return 1 million to general fund? And 1 million to ARPA?
That's a good question. I mean, that's open for discussion. Lynn, I know she went to the room.
She's on the
Lynn,
computer.
did you hear that question? Can you kind of explain it a little bit?
Yes, I mean, we are spending the flexible money, which is the replacement of lost revenue, was for this Dreams project. So kind of, you could do either thing and it could end up in the same way, I guess. I don't know. It's up to you what you'd want to do. If you want to return it to the fund balance, then there's that much less ARPA money to spend on another project that we may end up spending the fund balance on anyhow. I guess that's how I would kind of say it.
Lydia, does that make sense to you?
Thank you.
Anyone else discussion GO4? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Opposed.
You got that?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. GO5.
Okay.
Right, we'll just move it then. Second,
Second.
any discussion for GO5? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you, passed. So that was planning, public works, Andy.
For Public Works.
Sandy, before you get going, I know, do any of the students have a time frame when the buses are out there? Do you know?
Oh, wait.
We're almost done, sir.
Yeah, I just, well, some of them are probably double parked. That's the reason I asked. Okay, go ahead, Andy.
Sure.
Sheriff hat off.
We have 5 resolutions and we'd like to present PW 1, 2, 3, and 4 as a bundle.
Move it, Mark.
Second,
Second.
discussion 1 through 4. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Passed. PW 5.
PW 5, fixing day and notice of public hearing on local law in year 2023. A local law amending local law number 6 for 2021, authorizing 12 and 13-year-old licensed hunters to deer hunt with a firearm or crossbow during hunting season with the supervision of an adult licensed hunter pursuant to Environmental Conservation Law 11-0935.
Move it.
Second it, Mark.
Move for discussion.
Okay, was it seconded?
Yes.
Discussion.
What were the original ages?
16.
Thank you.
Shereen's not here. She could answer that.
I think Mark just said 15.
16.
This started off, I think, several months ago in Andy's committee. It's progressed since then and things have been changed off and on for the draft, but now it's finalized. I think last meeting we talked about, I think everybody was in pretty much the same thinking that the changes were good and there's no problem with it anymore.
Basically.
Further discussion. Yes, Andy.
Basically, because I remember taking my daughter when she was 11 or 12 for her hunter safety course. So we're trying to coincide And what's the sense of getting your hunter safety course and then sitting around for 5 years until you can actually use it and forget everything that you learned? This gets kids
Very good point.
hunting
Very good point.
under with their family.
Further discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you, passed. Judicial and Public Safety, Mark.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Judicial and Public Safety has 10 resolutions today. JP 5 and JP 7 were pulled at committee.
The rest is a bundle.
No,
Okay, we're going to have to take out JP2.
we're gonna read JP2 right now.
Yep.
Transferring funds from fund balance to assigned council program.
This is a 2/3 vote, everyone.
Requires a 2/3 vote.
All right, so let's do JP 1, 3, 4, 6, 8, 9, and 10. Let's have a motion for those.
Pull out 6, please.
You want 6 pulled out too?
Mr. Chair, I'll move the bundle with the two resolutions removed.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Discussion on the ones that we're bundling. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you. JP6 first, because that doesn't need 2/3.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. JP6 was amended at Ways and Means. Copies are on all legislators' desks and they were forwarded through the clerk's office to all our computers. And they were posted for the ledge agenda for today's meeting.
Move it.
Second,
Second for discussion.
any discussion, JP6? Elaine?
I'm just not going to be supporting this resolution. I've been consistent through the AP meeting and Ways and Means. I think that the data prosecution money, the 210,000, should recognize the additional revenue that has been granted with the restructuring of the legal groups. And for that reason, I'm not going to support the resolution in this format.
Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of JP6?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Got it?
Got it.
Okay. Thank you. JP6 is approved and passed.
Next up,
JP2.
It requires a 2/3 vote. It's transferring funds from fund balance to assigned council.
Second. Discussion. Okay.
I think we're all.
Everybody's in favor, we don't need it.
Yeah, we got to take the bill.
Is anyone opposed to it? All right. Normally, students, what we would do is go down through the names and 2/3, needs 2/3 to pass that because it's involving money out of the fund.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, all in favor of JP6?
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Two.
Or JP2, excuse me. Anyone opposed? If not, pass. Okay, one legislative agenda or resolution appointing, authorizing appointments to the various boards and agencies. This was sent in to me by the sheriff just a couple of days ago, so it's late added. But the names are on here if anybody wants to see them.
Move it.
Second, Jim, discussion. If not, all in favor? Anyone opposed? Yes, thank you. Okay, that concludes our meeting. I need a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor of adjourning? See you all up at the park.